on down here? We're supposed to be getting ready for an unboxing. What are you guys doing? Having a dance party or something? I mean, that's cool. I'll dance with you for a little bit, but then we need to get to work, guys. All right. Who's leading the dance? Let me guess. Mr. Bean, right? All right. This isn't the best dance music, really. I mean, you guys made it. It's not bad. It's not bad. Let me pick something else. Hold on a second. All right, let's try this. Oh yeah. Yeah, I know it's more my style, but come on, guys. All right, I'm gonna get some lights on. You guys keep on dancing. Keep on dancing. Yeah, I can see who's leading the dance. And Mr. Bean, that is not your car. I've seen your car. It's got like a single wheel. Oh no, you drive the Mini. Your nemesis drives the car that has the single wheel in the front. I got it. All right, guys. It's really cool that you decided to do this dance party, but we got to do an unboxing, okay? All right, so Your Majesty, I'm going to move you, sir. Dr. Singer. Mr. Bean, you troublemaker. Oh, that's pretty cool. Wrong way. Ha ha ha! Oh, no, there's a dance party. Or you drank something that went bad in your refrigerator or something. I don't know. Oh, this is good stuff. All right, since most of you are definitely tapping your toe or doing a little dance, because that's okay on this channel, you're probably wondering what this song is. Hold on a second, I'll tell you. Oh goodness, which one was it? Ah, there it is. Cherokee Shuffle. So as we get done with this pandemic and all that kind of stuff, if you decide you want like an alternative type song for a wedding march, can you imagine? That would be, yeah, that'd be awesome. Oh, that'd be awesome. All right, let me turn this volume down a little bit. We'll have some more music we'll kind of play as we're unboxing. Let me first of all tell you a little bit about this box that arrived. This box, let me turn my screen around. This box came from the great state of New York. And it was not packed by the customer, it was packed by the United Parcel Service. So UPS packed this for the customer at their request. And if you've ever had anything packed by UPS or FedEx or any of those other couriers, it's a little bit of an investment, quite honestly. So they better do a good job considering how much money that you are going to be paying them. And this happens to be Chris's machine. Chris's machine is one that he's trying to get all pulled together. There's a number of different things that have to be done. He's also trying to get a custom base made for it as well. And I'm not going to tell you what model this is until we get all the way to the end of the premiere and get this unboxed. And if you happen to recognize what it is and you want to post it in the chat, then I'll send you something special. Because I can tell you this, that this particular model that Chris sent us from the great state of New York has never been on this channel before. It's never been on the channel. So I can tell you this, that it's going to be fun to get this machine restored, prepped, all the different things that need to be done. There's wiring that has to be done to it as well, and then premiere this this machine, because it'll be the first time this particular model was premiered on this channel. So I think that's way cool, don't you? I think that's way cool. I'm trying to pull something up on my phone, which is not being a very smart phone today. Or my cellular service is not being very cooperative. One of the two, I don't know. But I will get some music playing so we can begin to jump into this unboxing of Chris's mystery machine, a model that's never been on this channel before. And I don't know if Chris, I'd have to check. I don't know if Chris lives near where the UPS store is. I would assume. But it looks like it's Hamburg, New York. It almost sounds like Hamburg, Germany, doesn't it? So Chris is somewhere near, it looks like Hamburg, New York, if I'm reading the label correctly, which I might not be. So, let's see. All right, let me get some music going. I'll continue to battle my not-so-smartphone, and we'll jump into this. All right, I think I'm ready at last. Okay, so let's see how UPS did for Chris. I'm guessing they probably use their double boxing method. They like that a lot. But they may have surprised me, you never know. But they did use styrofoam, which you already know how I feel about that. But they must have had some extra styrofoam on hand. And if it's real new styrofoam, it's not horrible. But it still can be a little bit on the brittle side. So I'm not seeing a double boxing method on the part of UPS. I'm seeing, as you can see, I'm seeing pieces of styrofoam kind of tossed on top. I don't know what this is doing. This really doesn't do anything. Because if an impact comes on top of the box hard enough to push through this lid and pushes against this, it's going to go right against Chris's machine. So, okay, well, I'm not impressed yet, but maybe it'll get better. And I promised Chris I wouldn't be too critical, but I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest. So there's our machine right there already. And I see they cocooned it in some bubble wrap. So that's good. All right, I think I'm going to be able to lift this right out. It's kind of just setting in here. It's not packed tightly. You can see all the gaps around it. Got gaps over here, and this is kind of what I'm talking about with. Well, I'll show you when I pull the machine out. This stuff is, even if it's new, it cracks and it gets brittle. This styrofoam stuff, so. And they didn't wrap Chris's cord either. Remember, cords, foot controllers, all of that, they all would, in my estimate, this is getting heavy. I think it's about 38 pounds. They all would fall into the general class of fragile. So I always encourage folks, you know, treat them as fragile. And this cord isn't as big of a deal because it's rubberized. It's not a plastic housing. But I always side with caution because you just never know what's going to happen in transit to these machines. You just don't. You might have a worker at UPS that's having an off day and they're just in a bad, foul mood. Maybe something happened at home or a boss yelled at them and they didn't think it was warranted. You never know. But let me kind of show you in here. You can see in the shot, here's some more just random styrofoam that they kind of dropped in there. Here you can see, it's kind of what I'm talking about. This is probably fairly new styrofoam. And yet it's, if you can see in the bottom of this, it's fractured. It's fractured all over the place. Even this side panel right here that was intended to protect Chris's machine is fractured as well. Here you've got more pieces of it. On the bottom you've got pieces right here that are cracked. So I'm not a fan of styrofoam. Now, who am I to say, as some little guy from Wisconsin, to contact UPS and say, you guys don't know how to pack sewing machines? Maybe I will do that. You never know. But I won't give Chris's name, otherwise they'll probably drop something off on his porch that he doesn't want. But again, the only way that I would use styrofoam is if I were to reinforce it, strap it around lengthwise, strap it around vertically with the same strapping tape that we secure the outside strapping on the machine with. Because then you've reinforced it, you've given it stability. And then you could use it on the bottom of the machine, say if you have a machine that has the pedestal feet. And I did that just recently with a machine that it may have been the 500A that went to Wyoming. But I did have a piece of styrofoam and I thought that would be perfect, but I'm not going to use it in its raw state. I'm going to reinforce it. So I went around lengthwise probably 3 times with strapping, and then I went around this way with strapping. I may have gone back to this way again strapping, and it reinforced, it held all of that, it bonded it together, and then it's a usable material. But in this state right now, where you can see all over the inside of the box, I think you can see that, it's just fragmented. It broke up in little pieces. So that's the only feedback I would give on styrofoam. Or as Forrest Gump would say, that's about all I have to say about that. I think he said something like that. But I applaud Chris for at least going to a mainline type packer and seeking their help in protecting his machine in transit. Okay, so let me get some more music on and we will start to go through this cocoon of bubble wrap and see what we might find. Let's see here. So that last one I played, I think, was Arkansas Traveler, and now I'm going to play St. Anne's Reel. Reel like R-E-E-L. See what this is like. Yeah, I'll take another little dip of this. This is all right. Uh-huh. Yeah, we'll adjust this shot a little bit because now we don't have that big box in the way. So I think overall the top protection is pretty good. On this end I can feel metal with my finger. If a machine is cocooned well, you should be able to press on the outside of that bubble wrap pretty hard and you shouldn't be able to feel any actual parts of the machine. All you should feel is layers like an onion. This side I can clearly feel the pressure foot adjustment, the top of that coming through the bubble wrap. So on this end it's a little bit on the thin side, and on being on top of the machine, that's probably not a good thing. But this machine was packed sideways in the box because of the style of the box, so it wasn't upright, which would have been even more dangerous. I know what I could do instead of me doing it, and I'm saying this with a grin you can't see on camera. Okay, you can now. Instead of me contacting UPS to give them feedback on how they boxed Chris's mystery machine, I could have Tony, my educator friend from Ohio, do it, because he's got my system of packing down to a science. Yeah. I don't know if Tony will go for it. All right. Yeah, that was a good one. I like that. Ooh, now we've got one that's labeled funky. I feel like partying right now. Okay. All right, just a warning, if there's any small kids or anything like that in the room, make sure they have hearing protection because you never know what's going to happen with a funky song. So here we go. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Again, I say it, but again, if you're new to this channel, if you receive a machine from someone that packs with my method like this, just make sure you're angling those scissors away from the machine as you're cutting through the bubble wrap. That way, if it slides through, you're not going to potentially damage the finish of that machine or cause any damage. Almost sounds like jazz or something. That's clearly a bass playing in the background there. A lot of skill to play a bass. Holy man. That is not easy. If you have any bass players watching out there, my hat's off to you. Well, any guesses yet? Again, if you want to venture a guess as to what this machine is that Chris sent from the great state of New York, this particular machine has never been on this channel before. And again, Chris is getting a custom base built for it, so this is going to be an heirloom machine by the time I get done and then Chris gets done on his end with getting everything put together. And angle that away as you're cutting through the layers. This is just a temporary base that Chris has this machine in. He had gotten the base, I think he ordered it from someone, but he just wasn't happy with it. So now he's working with another company on custom building a base for this machine. So the base you see this in is not going to be the permanent base that is going to house Chris's mystery machine. All right, we're getting real close, so if you want to try to win something before somebody else possibly jumps into the mix, you better get your guesses in. I better move this stuff that's in the harp space just to make sure that it doesn't have any answers that are going to give it away. And here you can see in transit. Oh, I see why. Okay, totally get it. Totally get it. I was going to say this bobbin plate came loose, and the bad thing about that is then it's moving around inside of this cocoon, going against the paint, going against who knows where it's going around as the machine is bouncing. Am I making you dizzy? Maybe. But there's a one of the little fins that holds it in place is broken off, and Chris told me that before he shipped it. So this didn't happen in shipping. This was already broken. So the only feedback I would say is metal against paint is always a bad thing. So you know, if you're going to ship a machine and you've got a plate like that that's not staying in place, go ahead and just put some stretch wrap around it and maybe a little bit of bubble wrap, and then if you want to tuck it into the machine harp space, then if it bounces around, who cares? It's like a pillow fight, right? So that would be the only constructive feedback. And as Chris and I were talking about shipping it, he goes, you know, I know that you got to give an honest opinion on the shipping, but you know, just don't be too critical. And he said, ha ha, or lots of laughs. So, but you know, the only thing I'll say is I'm going to give honest feedback. Again, this workshop is a classroom. We learn together, we improve. We're never happy with what our standard is today, because by tomorrow comes around, our standard's going to be even higher. Whether it's the way I restore the machines or optimize them, or the way you protect and maintain your machine. You know, we all want to have things better. We're not satisfied with mediocrity. I hope we're not. I hope we're not. And so I gave Chris a great quote, and I think he liked it. But I said, criticism like rain should be gentle enough to nurture a person's growth without killing their roots. Criticism like rain should be gentle enough to nurture a person's growth without killing their roots. So if I ever come across unduly harsh, I welcome that feedback, because that's not my goal. I want to give constructive feedback in all the areas that I think are relevant and important on this channel, but I never want to be overly harsh and kill someone's roots, in a sense. So that feedback, open door. Let me know if I do it. I hope I don't, but if I do, let me know. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a clip across the top. We're getting real close here. We're getting real close. Again, this model machine has never been on this YouTube channel before. So again, if you can post it before anyone else correctly, I'll send you something special. Now you've got a pretty doggone good view of it now. I'm never going to assume that it's mounted and locked properly, so I'm... Oh wow, okay. This you can't see it. I'll zoom in on it. Whenever a machine is mounted in a base, there should be a retainer that's in place to keep that machine from popping out. And this one right here, it's not really optimal, because it should be extending in far enough that this base, as you lift, let's say you lift the machine like this, that that it can't slide, the base can't slide past this little retainer. Let me kind of come out on this a little bit. Oops, wrong way. So, but again, this is a temporary base. I'm just giving general feedback for those of you that have machines in the base. Make sure it extends in probably another 3 or 4 millimeters at least, so that if you decide to lift it like this, that base isn't going to slip past this, and all of a sudden you're going to have a machine that, you know, a base that drops part way if it's hinged on the back correctly, and it's you know, number one, it's going to scare you. Number two, it could cause damage if you somehow lose grip on it. And I'm seeing a piece of wood again. A wood. Where is it? Where did I see it? I'm just going to zoom in that general area towards the bed. Right on the other side of the pillar. So I'm guessing that this is part of this temporary base that Chris has, which again is no big deal, but I'm just kind of showing you. However, UPS elected to protect this machine, and one of the things I had suggested to Chris, and he said he told them like 100 times, was just like you saw me do once I was shipping that machine back. Do you remember that 1591 that arrived and the base was like obliterated? It was just broken up in several different pieces. And when I did the shipping video, getting this machine ready to go back, I don't remember if I did it on video or if I did it in still shots, but I went around the base with the same strapping stretch wrap that we use when we're reinforcing the tote and when we're going around the machine as well to protect the machine and kind of seal the machine off. And Chris had told them to go around this base and reinforce the seams on this so that it wouldn't potentially bust apart like that one that came, I think it came out of Ohio, didn't it? Yeah, I think it did. That 1591. And you can see there's no stretch wrap on this base at all. They didn't follow Chris's request as a customer to reinforce this. And I don't know if that one piece of wood that I showed you is the only damage that happened to this temporary base, but nonetheless there's damage. And maybe it could have been avoided if they had followed Chris's recommendation. And I am looking over the back of the machine. I'll flip the machine around and show you one of the set pins that holds the machine securely into this temporary base has totally come loose. So, and again, when you're prepping a machine for shipment, let me come out of this shot. When you're prepping a machine for shipment, and the machine is in a base, you always want to make sure, let me change my shot. When you're shipping a machine that's in a base, you always want to use that stretch wrap to come over the top of the machine and then all the way underneath the base. You basically go all the way around like this on both ends of the machine. On the balance wheel side, I would come like right over here just to the right of the spool pin, over the back of the potted motor, kind of around here. And then also here on this end, near the needle bar, and just make sure you pad that upper tension real well before you come over the top and around the bottom with strapping tape. But you're anchoring the machine then to the base so that it's not going to pop loose. And then you're also going to use that stretch wrap to go all the way around the base. I would say 4 to 6 times, real tight, and then reinforce that with strapping tape on top of that stretch wrap around the base to reinforce it. That's what I did for my friend from Ohio that had shipped the 1591 and the base was destroyed, and it arrived there beautifully. You saw her post pictures of the machine set up in her sewing space, and she was just, I mean, both toes were tapping. She was a happy camper because all of the work I had done, remember I replaced all the joining pins that hold these the edges of these bases together, because the ones that were originally in there were real thin and kind of fragile, and so I re-drilled everything and then put these really nice wood dowel type pins in there just to really make that base super solid, and it worked. It got there safely, and the customer's real happy. So I'm going to lift this up and kind of turn it around, and you'll be able to see kind of what I'm talking about as far as what happened to Chris's machine in transit. And again, Chris paid a premium to UPS to do this right. Told him exactly what he wanted, and they didn't follow his recommendation. Thankfully, the base didn't come apart. It looks like there may be a little bit of a seam opening over here, and that looks like maybe where that piece of wood came from, doesn't it? But look at this. This set pin that should be anchored into the machine on both sides to hold it securely into this base. This one is just flopping in the wind. And the problem with that, just like I'm doing right now, that's metal getting banged against the decaling and filigree on the rear of Chris's machine. Not to mention, because they didn't anchor like I suggested, they didn't anchor around the machine on both ends to anchor the machine to the base. Now you only have one of these set pins that's holding this machine in the base. So it's nothing short of a Christmas miracle that this machine didn't come loose from the base, and then we could have some real serious damage. I don't think Chris cares about this base because it's temporary, but as soon as the machine comes loose from the base, there's all kinds of possibilities for the machine being damaged as well, which I know would upset Chris a lot. So this is not good. This is not good. And I'm disappointed that UPS didn't follow Chris's request that he gave them at least 100 times about using stretch wrap to reinforce that base. I'll be honest with you, Chris, I don't think that's a horrible base if it were stained up and you know, really you know, just kind of finished off. Right now it's kind of in a raw state. So any guesses yet? I'm not looking at the chat, so I don't know if you typed what you think the model number of this is in or not. We turn it around. See what I'm saying? Literally, you can see the machine. I had that little piece that's supposed to hold it down, and it's coming loose. I've got my screen facing the wrong way, so I can't see if you're seeing what I am. Yeah, you are. So that little piece I showed you on the front that I said should be about 3 or 4 millimeters longer, there's the proof in the pudding right there. Just by lifting the machine up, that came loose. And I'm just curious. Hope that light is, that's not a big deal. That's a crimp issue. But that light is kind of coming loose as well. I'm going to grab it real securely. I'm going to try to grab it securely and just see if that other pin on this side is also loose or came loose. That one's anchored properly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get that pin back in just so that it's not going to cause more potential damage to Chris's machine. We have it back in place now the way it should be. And obviously there's a set screw that is engineered into the bottom of the machine that you have to crank that down so it bites that pin that we just slid back into place to hold it in place. And whenever you're going to ship a machine, always check those screws that hold that pin into the bottom of the machine. Make sure that it's secure. I'm not going to lift it again because it's not going to stay stable. I'm just going to kind of rotate it around. All right, so let me play a little bit more music for you. I'm going to zoom in on this. Whoops, we got a piece that fell off too. I just found this when I was turning the machine around. Set that to the side with the bobbin plate. Oh gosh, that's way short. That's way short. Or you know what it is? Now that I'm feeling this end, this got snapped off at some point. It should be like this. And I bet you it probably had an extension on there, but it's plastic. It's not metal like a lot of them are. So it just got snapped off. All right, a little bit of music here. So I hope you folks are doing well, and just a reminder again that we're getting closer and closer and closer to the end of the major giveaway contest. And the major giveaway contest is, again, because we hit 7,000 subscribers, and it ends May 15th. And, you know, today is Monday, May the 4th already. So you're talking about 11 days. So I've noticed a couple more folks have jumped into the race for this Centennial 201-2, the Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines that I'm giving away for us hitting that milestone of 7,000 subscribers. But I know there's so many more of you that are kind of sitting on your hands and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to get in, you know, not today, maybe tomorrow. If you keep waiting, time's going to run out. And again, the contest ends at midnight on May the 15th, and midnight would be Central Standard Time. So don't put it off any further. Write something clever about the funny lady that's a sewaholic, and get it posted in conjunction with that premiere announcement on Facebook, and throw your hat into the ring. You'll see all the other posts that people have posted already. I mean, why wouldn't you want to try to win the Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines? I mean, it's a no-brainer. Even if you have a Singer 201-2 already, it's probably not a Centennial. So, shameless plug, doggone it. Get your hat in the ring and go for it. We got some great posts already, some awesome posts. All right, a little bit of music. Well, this ought to be fun. This is marked funky, and it's titled "Thinking About the Universe." All right, I'm going to zoom in on this machine a little bit. Actually, you know what I'll do? Because I think it'll be easier. I'm going to come off the tripod. Ooh, this is a fun piece. I can't help it, I'm sorry. All right, slow it down, slow it down. Any guesses yet on what model this is? All right, I'll be good. So obviously we have an unnumbered upper tension, old school, old style. Here's our faceplate, which is drop dead gorgeous. Isn't that lovely? And it's a drop-in bobbin style. A little bit of a chalkiness to the finish, but I'll see if I can do a little bit of cleanup for Chris to get this standing taller and looking good like in Hollywood. And then we have a little bit of Scotch tape, it looks like, that is right there over the decal. And someone may have done that trying to protect that decal, because it looks, see how it's degraded a little bit? I don't know if I'm going to attempt that because it's probably going to pull off that gold. But that's pretty cool stitch length selector, isn't it? That's awesome, I love it. Tensioner for bobbin winding. Yeah, that's what happened. That got snapped off on this end. That would have probably extended to about out there to hold that machine securely, and it's busted now. And it doesn't matter, because when I ship this back to Chris in this base, I'm going to strap it just like I told you on this end over the balance wheel around the bottom of the base, and the same thing on this end. So it's not going to be going anywhere. And part of our wiring that Chris, I'm going to do this the best I can here. Part of the wiring you can see down here that is going to have to be redone because what we're going to be doing is setting this up with a junction plug-in. So this machine will be wired, so the wiring will be coming out the right side of the machine. And then in the new base that Chris is going to be getting custom made, it's going to have a cubby hole right about where you can see that carpeting on my workbench surface. And there'll be a junction plug-in box there where these will be set up with basically plugs, like you would plug into an outlet, and then you'll just plug them into that junction box. So you can see the bottom of this machine is very different. It kind of has a pedestal feel to it, like a 201-2, but it's not a pedestal where you could self-stand this. This machine pretty much has to be in a base. Imagine trying to set this on a table surface with those metal plates on both sides. It would be a nightmare. Plus the thing would be so tippy, you wouldn't get any sewing done. Trust me, you just wouldn't get any sewing done. All right, let me rotate that back down nice and gentle. And those pins again, the pin on this side of the machine that I just stuck back in so it wouldn't scratch up the paint on the back of here is allowing that machine to shift. So this is a real different looking machine, isn't it? Let me show you the top as well. So we've got a real small balance wheel, obviously not spoked. Our clutch release there. Kind of come across the top of the machine here. Different lighting system as well. You can see how it's got like a, it's encased and then it goes into the housing in the back. We have what is a potted motor, but it's a different style potted motor than we're accustomed to seeing, say on the 201-2 or the 1591. Pretty little decal on the back of there. So if you didn't guess the model yet, and again, I'm not looking at the chat, so if you post it in the chat, by all means, I'll give you credit. Don't worry about that. But if you didn't guess it yet, and if any of you out there have a drum set sitting next to where you're watching this premiere, you can do a drum roll if you'd like. This is a Singer 101. 101. It's a Singer 101. And I didn't look up the serial number on this machine yet, so I can't tell you what year it is. You can see obviously there's not a serial number plate on the front, so the serial number is going to be on the bottom of the machine. But just based on all that I'm seeing, it's got a bobbin winding system that has a kickback spring, which was a development later on. So, you know what? I'm not going to venture a guess. I'm not going to venture a guess. I'm just going to go ahead and say that it's from an older vintage era, obviously, because of the upper tension style. But it's, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So this again is Chris's Singer 101, 101. And we're going to be doing a number of things to this machine, primarily electrical, but I'm also going to go through the machine and do a mechanical restoration as well. There's quite a bit of service that'll have to be done on the rear motor as well, just as I do to the 201-2s and the 1591s. And when we're done with it, and then Chris gets us back in New York and puts it in that brand new base, and all he's going to have to do basically is take those two cords that you saw underneath here and take them out the side of the machine and plug them in. And if he plugs the plugs in if he plugs a plug into the wrong junction of that plug-in point, what he'll get is a motor that runs continuously, and then he'll have to flip them, because one of them is going to be wired hot all the time, which is intended for the light. The other plug-in is going to be intended for the motor, and then there's going to be that interface of a foot controller that's going to complete that circuit to make it run. Blah, 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 blah. And a bobbin winding tire that has had a very good life. So that'll be part of my fun as well, as getting a different bobbin winding tire on there, because that's not going to serve Chris well. That's like going into winter in Wisconsin with bad tires. Not a good idea. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed this unboxing. Again, you're seeing a machine that has never been on this channel before, a Singer 101. So it'll be fun once the machine is completed. Obviously, I'll premiere it. And then we will have a Singer 101 in the permanent archives of Cow Country Vintage Sewing Machines and Restoration. So others that might have a 101 as well can go and watch the video of Chris's machine and can be inspired. So, kind of like at the beginning of this premiere, how Dr. Singer was inspired and how Mr. Bean was inspired to dance. And Your Majesty, I saw you doing just a little bit of dipsy doodle too there. So, all right, well, God bless, folks. Again, keep the faith, stay strong as we get further and further away from this storm of the coronavirus. I really am, from what I'm hearing, and I trust from what you're hearing as well, we are coming out of the storm, thank goodness. Even in the areas that were hit hardest, like out by Chris in New York and Louisiana and some of the others. So keep the faith, encourage others. It's hard to smile through a mask unless it's transparent or translucent, but people can see your eyes smile as well. So if you're out and about and you got your mask on and you got your gloves on and all that kind of stuff, try to light up a smile and encourage somebody, because whatever day you're having, whatever difficulties you're facing, who knows, they might be facing something a lot bigger, and you taking time to lock eyes with them and to, show that twinkle in your eyes behind that mask might just be enough to kind of raise their spirit a little bit. Does that make sense? All right. Well, God bless. Chris, thanks so much for sending this machine in. I hope I wasn't overly critical of the packing, but again, clearly UPS did not do all the things that you asked them to do, so shame, UPS. Shame. All right. All right. Take care, folks. God bless, and watch for other great unboxings like this.